Have you ever felt a pain that wasn't just yours? As if, silently, were you carrying something much bigger, something spiritual? Perhaps this feeling is not coincidence. According to Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet who revealed hidden mysteries of the universe, there are 3 signs in the Zodiac that were born with a sacred burden. They were not made to live quietly. They were chosen to transform suffering into light. The mystery behind these signs is not in the common books of astrology, nor in conventional maps. It is hidden in spiritual records, visions, and revelations that cross time. They are old souls, marked by an invisible call, the call of pain, with purpose. And the most impressive, these people often feel different from children, as if they didn't belong to this world. Maybe you are one of them. You may be here now, because you need to remember why you have been chosen. Cayce said that the universe hides codes in specific signs, and when they wake up, they start a silent but powerful mission, a mission that involves loss, silence, scars, and faith. What if your sign is between these 3? You will understand why your pain was never in vain, why certain experiences have shaped you, not to destroy you, but to prepare you. The signs are everywhere: recurring dreams, scare intuitions, uncontrollable requirements. If this has happened to you, keep watching. This message did not come to you by chance. Leave your sign in the comments now, because the revelation starts in moments, and it can change everything you thought you knew about who you are. If you have already felt these truths echo within you, don't ignore the call. Write in the comments, "I feel this spiritual pain," or simply say what your sign is. Your testimony may arouse other souls that also carry this energy, but still do not know why. And more than that, when you comment, you activate the recognition cycle. You put yourself in the flow. You position yourself as someone who is ready to understand your spiritual mission. This video is more than information. It is a mirror. It is a ritual of awakening. And so I ask you, leave your like now if this content has started to play something inside. This helps the universe and the algorithm bring this message to those who also need to hear. Subscribe to the channel, because this journey does not end here. There are still hidden revelations, deep mysteries, and spiritual secrets that are coming, and I will guide you in every part of that path. What Edgar Cayce revealed about these 3 signs goes far beyond traditional astrology. It is about souls chosen. It is about silent survivors. And it's time to recognize who you really are. Let's go, because now, the first sign will be revealed. Have you ever felt a pain that no one around you can understand? Not that physical or passing pain, but one that has been with you ever, silent, intense, spiritual, as if something was moving inside you. A call, an energy, a presence, which you could never explain but never abandoned you. A feeling that you are not just living, you are enduring, and that even without knowing exactly why, his soul carries invisible marks from other lives, other stories, something that goes beyond this time. Perhaps you are one of those people who, since childhood, felt displaced, as if it were more sensitive than others. You perceived feelings in the air, wept for reasons that no one understood, was silent in the face of situations where others exploded. You were not weak, you were connected, because some signs didn't just come to learn from life. They came to endure, feel, heal. And these rare souls were recognized by Edgar Cayce as carriers of deep spiritual pain, and a mission that few can carry to the end. While many seek success, fame, applause, you seek meaning. You feel that there is a greater purpose hidden behind your pain. Have you ever wondered, why did you have to go so much? Why did the falls come so early? Why did you feel abandonment, emptiness, absence, even surrounded by people? This was no punishment. That was preparation. The spiritual pain you feel is the foreshadowing of something that needs to emerge, because chosen souls are sculpted by pain, not shaped by comfort. And the signs Cayce pointed out carry this hidden mold, this mystical pan that does not fit the common. There is a pattern among the chosen ones. They have vivid dreams. They feel goosebumps at random times, press when something will happen. They often know what others are thinking even if no one says a word. They carry empathy. They feel pain that is not yours, react with intensity, often silence. They are isolated not by arrogance, but by protection. These are traces of those who have been spiritually marked for an invisible mission. and which is now beginning to reveal itself. Maybe that's why you have felt so lost at times. You were looking for answers in wrong places, in people who could never understand you. You thought you were just too sensitive, too weak, too dramatic. But what if I told you that all this are spiritual symptoms? Signs that your spirit is carrying more than it should, because it was made for it. And now it's time to recognize this load, not as a weight, but as a seal. Do you feel your intuition is getting stronger? That your sensitivity is increasing? What coincidences are getting more frequent? This is because when we approach the moment of revelation, the universe begins to act. More clearly, he doesn't shout, he whispers. And that's why this video found you. It was no coincidence. You needed to hear these words now. I needed to remember that you are not alone on this path. Many people out there live without knowing that they are spiritually awake. They spend their entire lives carrying emotional and spiritual pains, not understanding where they come from. But when such a message appears, something inside them awakens. And this spiritual awakening is what transforms lives, which lights the true mission. Edgar Cayce said that the soul does not forget what it promised before incarnating, and the signs marked with deep pain are the ones who hear this call the most, even without knowing how to translate. Do you identify with this? Do you feel that there is something inside you trying to emerge? A silent force that wants to scream but finds no words? If so, then stay with me, because the revelation that comes now can be one of the most powerful of your life. And, more than just watching, I want to invite you to participate. At the end of this video, you will have a chance to declare this spiritual identity that pulsates inside you. It will be able to comment on a word that works like a ritual, a brand of those who are ready to accept this path. For now, just feel, just listen with your heart. And if these words are touching you in any way, it is because recognition is happening. You are accessing something that was already in you, and you don't have to understand everything now. No need to rationalize, just be present. The next few minutes will reveal you the 3 signs that, according to Edgar Cayce, carry the deepest spiritual pain of the Zodiac, and with it a powerful mission, a call that crosses time, which comes from other lives and has brought you here, right now. Today you will dive into a truth that few people are prepared to listen, and even less, to accept. According to Edgar Cayce, one of the greatest mystical prophets in history, there are 3 signs that not only were born with high sensitivity or spiritual gifts, they were born marked with a sacred wound. This is not any pain. It is an ancestral pain, an energy that crosses generations, which comes before physical birth and accompanies the soul throughout various existences. These signs did not simply come to live in the world. They came to transform it, to heal through pain, to transmute through loss, to love even after they were shattered. And, maybe unknowingly, you are one of them. Perhaps everything you have gone through today, silent tears, difficult relationships, the feeling of not belonging, the cycles that never seem to end, has been part of spiritual training, a mysterious and painful but divinely guided process that brought you here. Because it is right now in this message that it all starts to make sense. Cayce didn't just talk about personality characteristics. He spoke of memories of the soul. He saw the Akashic records, a kind of spiritual library where all the experiences of the soul are stored, and there he identified standards. And in these standards, 3 signs always came back with the same energy: suffering with purpose. No suffering as punishment, but as called, a kind of spiritual password that activates gifts, arouses ancient wisdom, and transforms scars into healing, to themselves and the collective. These signs have the gift of expanded sensitivity, but also the burden of feeling all the time. These are people who often can't stand heavy environments, who perceive lies with the look. May they present betrayals before they happen, that connect with the emotions of others so deeply that they get sick by absorbing energies that are not their own. They are also the ones who suffer most from losses, not because they deserve to suffer, but because every loss, every break, is a key that activates a new phase of their spiritual mission. People like that are not common. They are living portals. They are vehicles of transformation. They are incarnate spiritual anchors. And even that do not know this consciously. The soul knows. The soul always knew. You may have realized this throughout your life. You may have felt that even when everything worked out in your outside life, there was a void inside. as if something was still missing, as if your soul was waiting for something you still couldn't name. Or perhaps you have realized that your relationships were never simple, that people could not keep up with their intensity, that you were always the deepest, the most dedicated, and the most injured. This is also part of the brand. These 3 signs do not live common relations. They cannot live in superficiality. For them, everything is sacred, even pain. And this can explain why you always attracted people who needed to be healed, why you were always the person who others were looking for when they were lost, why you endured much more than you seemed to. Be able. Edgar Cayce said these souls act as spiritual mirrors. When they are awake, they make others awaken too. When they suffer, this suffering echoes throughout the family, throughout the system around. And when they heal in waves. But there is something you need to understand before you find out if your sign is among the 3 chosen. This spiritual journey starts only when you accept the call. While you see yourself only as someone different, too intense, or too emotional, the way remains blocked. It is necessary to recognize pain as a tool, as a compass. You need to see chaos as divine language. You must accept that nothing you lived was by chance, including the fact that you are here now, listening to it. And before I reveal these 3 signs, I want to make you an invitation. Stop for a second and look inside. Feel. Ask your intuition. Is there a wound to me that carries a purpose? If this question echoes, then you have already started to wake up. And if you want, you can write in the comments now, I feel this spiritual wound. Or if you prefer, just write your sign. Leave it recorded. This is more than a comment. It is a seal. It is a public confirmation that your soul is ready to remember who it is. Let's see how many of us are carrying this same call. How many are feeling this same shiver? How many are prepared for what comes next? Scorpio. Just listening to that name, something changes in the atmosphere. There is a different vibration, almost as if the air became denser. It's no wonder. Scorpios do not walk the surface of life. They dive. From an early age, it seems that something inside them pulsates differently. They are not content with shallow explanations, with warm relations, with easy paths. They did not ask for it, but they received an old soul, a soul that has lived too much, who has died and was reborn so many times that he has lost his bill, a soul that knows the darkest corners of existence, not out of curiosity, but out of destiny. According to Edgar Cayce, Scorpio carries one of the most challenging spiritual archetypes of the entire zodiac. They are the alchemists of pain, those who not only feel intensely, but turn this intensity into power. But for that, the price is high. Nothing is simple for those born under this sign. Life seems to test, provoke, challenge, as if you want to see how far this soul holds. And the most surprising thing is to hold on. Always hold on. Even when everyone thinks it came to an end, Scorpio rebuilds. Out of nowhere, of the ashes, of the rubble of what seemed irreversible. It is the only sign that represents at the same time death and the renaissance, destruction and healing, the shadow and the light. Perhaps this is why many Scorpions live surrounded by loss from childhood, sudden changes, cycles that end up suddenly, people who leave, loves that hurt, and an internal silence that accompanies them in each step, as if they knew that all this is part of something larger. And it does, because every pain that Scorpion crosses is a portal, a call, a spiritual initiation. Cayce described this journey as a cut process. The Scorpio soul is cut by pain, but the result is rare, such an intense inner force that can move structures, internal and external. And you can see these signs. Scorpions have an almost scary intuition, dreams that look like messages, goosebumps that come out of nowhere, psychic connections with people, places, and events. They feel when something is wrong. They know when someone is lying. Read the intentions behind the words. They are fascinated by what is forbidden, for what is hidden, for what others are afraid to face, not out of morbid curiosity, but because they feel they need to understand what hurts in the world in order to cure. And when this mission is ignored, life becomes heavy. Because Scorpio was not born to live a common existence, it was not born to deny the deep wave when it tries to be light fragments. When she tries to ignore the pain, she consumes him. When you try to love superficially, it gets sick. Because everything in Scorpio requires truth, delivery, and transformation. And maybe you who are listening now are recognizing these layers within you. Perhaps you have tried to hide, adapt, be less intense, but the truth is that its intensity is its gift. Your pain is your seal. Your deep silence keeps a wisdom that this world needs. Cayce said that scorpions are unconscious curators. They often don't even know how much others affect. Their presence can arouse memories, provoke transformations, accelerate internal processes in those around them. But at the same time, this makes them vulnerable. So they protect themselves. So they move away. So they seem hard on the outside. But inside, they are pure soul. You who are Scorpion or who carries this energy at some important point of your map need to understand that the pain you carry is not a mistake. It is an instrument, and that your darkest moments were not punishment but invitations. Invitations for your own renaissance. And it is in this renascer that you find your power, your true power, the ability to look at the wounds of the world, not escape, to feel everything in depth and yet keep loving, to endure what many would not bear, and yet protect who needs it. You are not weak. You are sacred. You are deep because it carries what others avoid looking. You feel so much because it came to heal so much. You shut up because your spirit speaks louder than words. If this made sense to you, if you felt something pulse while listening to every word, so you are remembering who you are, and that is the first step, the awakening. Now, if you recognize yourself all this, I invite you to leave a brand in the comments, but not any mark. Write, I carry this energy. 3 words that activate a portal. Who declare to the universe that you are no longer a victim of pain. You are her alchemist. And if you know someone from Scorpio who needs to hear it, send this video. Perhaps this person's soul is ready to remember too. And now, we follow. Because there are still 2 more signs that carry missions as intense as this fish. When we pronounce this name, it is as if a wave of sensitivity invaded the environment. Not that superficial, emotional sensitivity of the moment, but an ancestral, deep, spiritual sensitivity. Pisces is not just the last sign of the zodiac. It is the end, and at the same time the preparation for the restart. It carries within itself all the experiences of the previous signs. It is as if, at birth under this energy, the soul said to the universe, let me feel for everyone. Let me take what no one else can endure. And so, Pisces suffers. Suffers even when there is no visible reason. Suffers because you feel. Suffers because it absorbs. It suffers because it is, in essence, a channel. Edgar Cayce described fish as the most spiritual of all signs, but also the most lonely. Not for lack of love around, but for excessive love inside. The Piscean does not only love with his heart, he loves with the soul. He feels what others can't feel. It captures the invisible. He is thrilled with what others ignore. And often he doesn't understand why he feels so much, why he is so much moved, why he cries for pain that is not his own. But the truth is that they are, yes, they are collective pains. Because fish, according to Cayce, came to absorb dense energies and transmute them. It is the filter of the spirit world, an open portal between 2 plans, a silent guardian who, even unknowingly, is always on a mission. Maybe that's why you, who are from fish, live in a constant conflict between what you feel and what you can explain. Perhaps you have already wondered if there is something wrong with your way of being. Perhaps it was already accused of being exaggerated, dreamer, distracted, too sensitive. But the truth is that you were not born to be understood with logic. You were born to live by intuition. You came to the world with an antenna linked directly to the subtle plane. And this connection, although beautiful, is also heavy. Because when others follow life ignoring the signs, you receive them in the form of dreams, goosebumps, strange sensations, subtle presence. You capture everything, you absorb everything, and often pays a price for it. It is common for Pisceans to feel an inexplicable nostalgia, a longing for something they have never lived, but somehow feel they have already known. This is the soul talking. It is your spirit accessing memories of past lives, cosmic experiences, missions that transcend this current existence. Cayce said fish is one of the signs with the greatest spiritual baggage. They are old, wise but fragile souls, and precisely because they carry so much, they need to learn to protect themselves, Because the Piscean mission is noble but per egose. Absorb the pain of the world without getting lost in it, feeling everything without being consumed by everything, loving the whole without forgetting yourself. And if you've seen yourself plunged into deep emotional crises, if you have felt you carry a pain you don't know where you come from, if you already cried for reasons you can't explain, maybe you're just remembering what your soul promised before you were born. You came as a silent peacemaker, an intuitive curator, a spiritual master who teaches not with words, but with the presence. Your compassion transforms, your gaze welcomes, your vibration comforts. Even without effort, you play others. And when this mission is recognized, you start to wake up. The pain, which was once confusion, becomes direction. The sensitivity, which was once weight, becomes power. The intuition, which was once doubtful, becomes a guide. But it is important to remember, all this energy only remains pure when you respect yourself, when you learn to say no, when you choose to move away from toxic environments, when you stop trying to fit in places that empty you. Cayce warned, Piscean who does not understand his mission is easily lost in addictions, illusions, emotional dependencies, because everything in it seeks relief, everything in it seeks to dissolve. But when he is anchored in his own truth, he becomes unshakable, a silent spiritual force that transforms everything around. If you are listening to this now and you felt a deep identification, as if each word was describing what you could never explain, so maybe your soul is responding. You may be recognizing the call. And if it touched you, if something is thrilled in you, don't be alarmed. This is the awakening. It is its essence remembering the mission, a silent but divine mission. Now that you have heard all this, I want to invite you to leave a mark in the comments, but not any comment. Write, I accept my mission. 3 words that claim to the universe that you are not a victim of your sensitivity. You have a gift. And if you know someone from Fish, send this video. This person may be having to hear this more than you think. Cancer. When this name is pronounced with spiritual attention, it vibrates with a different energy. It is as if a silent wave of emotional memories rose within those who hear. A memory that is not in mind, but in the soul. Because whoever is born under the sign of Cancer not only feels, he keeps. It keeps emotions, memories, unplaced words, unique pain, family secrets, memories that are not always his, and yet it carries everything, in silence, with sweetness, with a kind of love that is no longer around. According to Edgar Cayce, the Cancerians are the invisible guardians of the lines of the lineage. They reincarnate not by chance but by spiritual choice. They are ancient souls who assume, even before being born, the mission of healing what is broken in the roots. So early on, they look more mature. They feel too much, perceive everything. They observe with a type of sensitivity that goes beyond the look. While other children play, the Cancer is already realizing the silences of adults, already feel what others do not have the courage to say, already cry for pain that are not explained. And this deep sensitivity is not weakness. It is the seal of those who came with the mission of healing through emotional connection. Cancer is, by spiritual nature, the caregiver of the invisible. He takes care of others even when he is in pieces. He welcomes, without asking. He feels the environment and, without realizing it, tries to balance it. Therefore, it often absorbs loads that do not belong to it. Cayce said Cancerian is a channel for the collective emotional. Your soul has a kind of intuitive radar that connects with unpaid pain, with the camouflaged anguish on the most subtle gestures. And this ability to feel is both its highest gift and its invisible cross. Throughout their lives, many Cancerians wonder why they can never turn off the emotion. Because they feel so much, they get hurt easily. They donate over. The answer lies in the mission they carry. They did not come to the world to be indifferent. They came to love in depth, even when they are not understood. They came to build spiritual homes, not necessarily physical, but places where injured souls could rest. That is why they are so linked to the house, the family, ancestry, because they carry the unconscious desire to heal what was broken, to protect what is vulnerable, to keep the sacred connections that give meaning to existence alive. And all this is reflected in deep spiritual signs. Cancerians have a special connection with the moon, which not only rules the sign, but directly influences their emotional states. Just look at the sky and understand the lunar phase to understand the mood of a Cancer. They feel more on the full moons, retreat in the waning, renew themselves in the new ones. There is something almost bad Gico in this, a dance between heaven and soul. In addition, they have very strong feeling. They know when something will happen even if no one has said anything. They protect their spaces with an almost maternal intensity, and even when injured, they continue to take care of others as if love were stronger than any hurt. This unconditional delivery, however, charges a price, because those who feel so much also suffer in depth, and often, these sufferings are not visible. They are painted pain, swallowed words, silent mourning. This is why so many Cancers develop defense mechanisms. They close, create barriers, collect in silence. But behind this armor is an extremely sensitive soul that only needs a safe space to flourish. Cayce said that when the Cancerian recognizes his spiritual mission, something changes. He fails to see his pain as weakness and begins to see it as a tool. He understands that his role is not to turn out who he is, but to use his emotional light to illuminate others. And that transforms everything. If you are Cancer, or if you carry this sign hard on your map, know that what you feel matters. Your pain matters. Your way of loving matters. Its mission is deeper than anyone around you can understand rationally, but your soul understands. Your essence vibrates with every word you heard here. And if you felt that you were listening to the story of your own life being narrated with other words. Perhaps it is because the time has come to accept the truth. You are not exaggerated, too sensitive, or fragile. You are a silent curator, an emotional protector, a strong spirit disguised as a hug. Now that you have come this far, if this spoke to you, if this video has activated something that was dormant, I want to invite you to leave a spiritual statement in the comments. It's not just a sentence. It's a public recognition of your mission. Write, "My pain has purpose." These 4 words seal their healing journey. And if you know someone from Cancer who needs to remember it, send this video. Perhaps this soul is at the exact moment of remembering why it is here. If you got here and recognized yourself in any of these signs, it is because your soul was ready to hear this message. There is no chance when it comes to spiritual awakening. What you feel is not coincidence. The intensity of your pain, the silence that carries inside, the signs that come without explanation, all is part of a much larger call. You are not broken. You are marked. Spiritually marked by a purpose that goes beyond logical understanding, beyond external validation. Your pain is not a mistake. She is a sacred tool. And the sooner you understand this, the faster you will find the way back to your light. The world tries to shape you to fit in small boxes. It teaches that feeling too much is weakness, which crying is a sign of instability, that being introspective is defective. But whoever is born under the signs of spiritual pain was not made to follow ready formulas. You didn't come to fit, you came to expand. And every time you try to erase yourself to please others, every time you deny your foreboding, your deep emotions, your sharp intuition, you move away from yourself. And with that, the signs begin to disappear. You feel you lost your way, feel something has disconnected, and it really disconnected, because your soul knows when you are cheating on your truth. Denying who you are spiritually is the same as betraying your mission. And the more you try to live like others, the more you feel empty inside, because your soul code is different. It was written at another frequency. Its pain was calibrated to be a compass, not prison. And if you are not aware, you may fall into the cycle of oblivion. The cycle of those who feel too much but do not understand, of those who suffer but do not know why, from those who carry gifts but burial them not to seem strange. But the truth is, you will only find peace when accepting that you were born with a spiritual seal, and this seal shines when you are authentic with your own sensitivity. Many people lose their connection with their essence because they believe that spirituality is just ritual or theory. But truth of truth is memory. It is vibration. It is consistency between what you feel and what you live. And if you ignore what you feel, if you try to be colder, more practical, more rational just to fit, you start to lose your sensitivity. And with her, he also loses the signs that the universe sends you all the time. Dreams that were once clear begin to disappear. Accurate intuitions come to look doubtful. That invisible presence that comforted you in times of pain moves away in silence. Not because he stopped loving you, but because his soul has silenced his own voice. This is why Cayce said that pain has two faces, a destructive, when denied, and a transformative, when understood. And here is the great consciousness you need to do now. Everything that hurt on you can serve you. Everything that knocked you down, it may be the basis of your mission, but it only happens when you stop fighting your own essence, when you accept that you no longer need to pretend to be light, be practical, be distant. If your spirit is made of depth, connection, intense presence, from the moment you say to yourself, yes, I carry this pain. Yes, it is part of who I am. Yes, I want to learn from her and no longer escape her. It's like something unlocking inside you. It is as if the layers of your soul began to align each other again, and what seemed confusing begins to make sense. You do not understand with your mind. You understand with the body, with the heart, with the vibration. The signs come back. Intuition is tuned. Dreams show you the way. And more than anything, the pain begins to convert to wisdom. But beware, this process requires courage, requires spiritual vigilance, because the world will keep trying to convince you that being spiritual is foolishness, that being sensitive is weakness, that speaking to angels is fantasy. But your soul knows the truth. She feels when something is real. It vibrates when he hears what he is listening to now. So even if no one understands, even if they mock, even if they doubt it, remain firm. Keep listening. Keep feeling. Keep protecting the most precious in you, your spiritual light. And now that you are at this point in the journey, I want to make a special request. If you have identified with everything that has been said so far, if something inside you recognized this silent truth, I invite you to write in the comments the phrase, "My pain has purpose." These 4 words activate a powerful force within you. They signal to the universe that you are ready to walk consciously. And if you want to go further, also comment which of the 3 signs described you more deeply. Let's create a healing, recognition, and wake-up collective space together. Your comment may be the sign that another soul was waiting to remember who she is. And now that you have walked with me for this deep, intimate, and spiritual revelation, I ask you, take a deep breath, feel all that has been said not only with the mind, but with the soul. Because what happened here was not just a video, it wasn't just content. It was a reunion with their parts that were dormant. It was a mirror placed in the face of its essence. It was a portal of memory, where each pronounced word brought back something the world tried to erase, its true spiritual identity. And if you are feeling this shiver now, this heat in the chest, this desire to cry, or this presence by your side, know that this is real. It is your vibration responding to the truth. You are not a cosmic chance. You are part of a much larger spiritual plane than your physical eyes can see. Your soul is not lost. It is in the process of remembering. And every contained tear, every silence that shouted, every intuition that was ignored, all this turns into wisdom. You went through everything that went through a reason. And even if the world never explained to you why, your soul always knew that there was something bigger behind every pain, each fall, every feeling of being too different. It was not weakness. It was a sign. It was preparation. It was the universe whispering that your mission was still alive inside you, waiting for the right moment to flourish. This moment is now, because when you decide to recognize your own pain as a gift, you change everything. When you stop being ashamed of what you feel and value your sensitivity, you align with your spiritual destiny. When you assume, without fear, that it carries an invisible cross but also an unbelievable light, you inspire others to do the same. That's why I tell you, what you feel has value, what you lived has purpose, and what you are is necessary. Each person who connected with this message carries something sacred within himself, but few have the courage to take over. Few have the courage to say to the world, "Yes, I feel too much. Yes, I carry an old pain. Yes, I was spiritually marked to a mission I'm still discovering. But you are here, and if it has come to this point, it is because it is ready to take this step, not for vanity, not because of prominence, but because something inside you recognized the time to stop running away, the time to stop trying to fit in where your soul screams for freedom, the time to assume your energy, your light, and your story. And so I want to propose you more than a comment. I want to propose you a ritual, a symbolic act that spiritually seals everything that has been activated here today. A simple but powerful gesture. I want you to go now in the comments and write with conscience and intention. I carry this pain with honor. It's not just an F raise, it is a vote. It is a sign for the universe that you are accepting what you once rejected, that it is embracing what it once hid. And if these words cause emotion, let it. He felt like crying while listening to it all. Allows. Because you are releasing, vibrating, cleaning. It is getting closer to yourself, its origin. And if you know someone who also carries a lot, someone who has always been misunderstood, who has a beautiful but injured soul, send this video. Sharing this message can be an act of healing for those you love. It may be the beginning of the awakening of someone who is still lost in the middle of pain. You have no idea how many souls are living in the dark just because they have never heard that their pain has purpose. So be this channel, be this bridge. Use your sensitivity as a guide to transform not only your life, but the world around you. And remember, this spiritual journey does not end here. In the next video, we will dive even deeper. Let's reveal the secret mission of the signs rejected by the universe. Those who, even having a grand soul, were judged, isolated, discredited, but in silence. They keep the greatest spiritual mysteries of the Zodiac, and maybe you are one of them. So stay with me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. Like this video if it touched you on some level. But, above all, write in the comments now. I carry this pain with honor. Let's create a space where sensitive, old, and spiritually marked souls can find themselves, where no one else needs to hide from the light itself. If you got here until the end of this video, it was no coincidence. It means that your soul is awakened, ready to receive and live the spiritual mission it carries. And if this journey made sense to you, now it's your turn to act. Subscribe to the channel right now, because what you saw today is just the beginning. Here, each video is a key, a revelation, a step further in your spiritual path. And I want to walk with you, step by step, activating memories, gifts, and truths that were dormant inside you. If this message has touched your real heart, leave your like. This helps the universe, like and the algorithm, bring this energy to more people who also need to awaken. And he comments down here, I arrived until the end because I'm an awake soul. Write this phrase with intention, like a final seal, so we know who is really ready to go further. And it doesn't come out yet. The next video is already appearing here, in the left corner of the screen. He is the natural continuation of this journey, and there, you will discover the secret mission of the signs rejected by the universe. Click now and continue with me. Your spiritual journey is just beginning.